Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe, and me and Joe got pretty hammered last night. We were at a networking event, and we were drinking Casamigos. How you feeling today, Joe? Are you okay? Because I feel like crap. I almost called out of work. My wife was worried. She texted me. She goes, "Are you up yet?" I was worried. You slept too much. How are you feeling? Because you're a young man. I'm old. How are you?
I'm doing surprisingly well, Coop. I drank some water last night, and I had that burger, and it's a good thing I did. But yeah, it's good to be young, I guess.
Yeah, it is, because I took like 18 Tums and like 6 aspirin this morning. Anyway, Joe, tell us a little about SuiteRecording.
Yeah, so at SuiteRecording, we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of video and audio content in a myriad of different ways. So we love podcasts. We love to help businesses start their own podcasts and YouTube channels, and then to sort of turn that content into clips, blog posts, newsletters. There's a lot of things that you can do with that podcast, but it's not just podcasting. It's a lot more than that. We do mobile recording, live streaming, and a lot of other cool things. So if you're interested in learning more or just connecting with me, you can contact me at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right, we have a great show today. It's people, I always love when I meet people networking, and then my first guest I want to say is we never met in person from Aikotek. It's Amelia Michael. How you doing, Amelia?
I'm good. Thank you for having me here.
All right, and then I hung out with her last night a little bit, but she didn't do shots with us. From Heartland Payroll, it's Kate Graham. How you doing, Kate?
How you doing? Thanks for having me, Coop. It was fun last night. I drank water as well.
I know, but you didn't do shots of this, and from a time to flourish, a person I met during the pandemic before, Maria Veglia. How you doing, Maria?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So, Amelia, tell us a little about Aikotek.
Okay. So my business, I basically specialize in helping people get comfortable with the things that make them uncomfortable, and the two biggest things are technology and gender. So I teach people how to use technology and get comfortable with that. And I teach businesses how to talk to transgender and non-binary people, or how to not get sued, how to, let's call it, how to do the right thing by their employees, especially if they want to hire Gen Xers. And I also help with where the crossover is between technology and gender. So when people have software that needs to handle pronouns, stuff like that, I help work that stuff out.
Okay. And Kate, now tell us a little more about Heartland Payroll and what you do for them.
Yeah, so Heartland Payroll is a full payroll and payroll tax service. So pretty much any business with one employee or more is probably already outsourcing payroll. We are handling their payroll, week-to-week payroll taxes. We are doing their quarterly reports, year-end reports, W-2s. And then there's a lot that goes with payroll, and we can help them out with that good stuff as well, which we can dive into later.
Okay. And Maria, tell us a little about Time to Flourish.
Sure. Time to Flourish is a business consulting firm. Primarily, though, my focus is professional development. So I work with organizations, whether it be technical training or professional skills like leadership, conflict management, communication. I work with them to help their employees develop these skills that are going to really, make a difference in their professional path.
Okay. So, everyone has a story. I just said the word story. I'm still waiting to flourish. One day when I'm like on my deathbed, I'll flourish. And people go, "Oh, you finally flourished," but he died. Everyone has a story how they got somewhere and how you got to your position. So we're starting with you, Amelia. How did Aikotek come about? What's your path? And you're shaking your head like it's a really long story. You can condense it, but tell us how you got there, because since I've known you, it's probably 5 years. You've always been with that company, but tell me the path.
So I would have told you that I randomly came upon this life, except that a few weeks ago, I wrote a book that's going to be published in the new coming year. And I had to write an introduction for it. And the introduction was supposed to be exactly about my path. So in the process of having to write the introduction, I sort of realized that my whole life led to this. I was a rape crisis counselor, and I took kind of a sharp turn to own an IT company for about 15 years. And I split my time between owning my IT company in my professional life and doing crisis counseling and doing things to prevent gender-based violence in my personal life. And I sold my IT company and started Aikotek, mostly focusing on all of the things that IT people don't do, all of the stuff that has to do with actually working with people and how they use their computers. And COVID actually is what helped me merge the two things, because during COVID, my specialty was helping, I call it technotherapy. I help people understand technology who aren't good at it. And I could not do my job by Zoom, because people who can't use technology, you have to sit next to them to help them use it. So I basically stopped and took that time to switch gears and incorporate all of the gender stuff that I've been doing for a while into my career. So that's
Okay.
basically my path.
It's funny. It's funny you say about people, technology. We've been doing Zoom forever, and you still go to that breakout room, and people sit there and they're on mute the whole time, and you're like,
Yep.
and they start talking, and it's like, you've been doing this for 3 goddamn years. Get off mute. And it always happens. And you're sitting there, and you're like, do you know? Like, it's just a little button. So anyway, I'm gonna rant. I think a lot today. I'm grumpy because I'm hungover. And Kate, tell us your path to Heartland Payroll.
Yeah, so it's not my first career. Prior to, I'll throw it out there, 9/11. I had a different career. I was doing corporate travel arrangements for executive travelers, and I did that for, I don't know, 7, 8 years, something like that, back in the 90s, and it was great while it lasted, and it kind of got a little boring after a while. I felt like more like I was just kind of taking orders, and just sitting behind a desk all day. So changed it up. I resigned right before 9/11. And when 9/11 hit, it did change that industry greatly. And so I was already on a path of doing something different. But what it was going to be, I wasn't sure. So I went back to school, freshened up my resume with a few kind of filler classes, technology, learning how to use Word, and, basically a Microsoft course. But what that did for me, it was just enough for me to reset the button. And I went to a headhunter, and the headhunter placed me. But before she placed me, each time I saw her, she asked me if I had any payroll experience. And each time I said no. The third time she asked me, and these are 3 different visits, she says, do you have any payroll experience? I said, no, you asked me this 3 times. This is the 3rd time. I said, but you have something with payroll. So just get me the interview. And I need a job. I'm getting married this year. And she was like, okay. She got me the interview. I got the job. It was a temp to perm. I was hired a few weeks later as a perm. So I must have done something right. And basically, I just was hired to help them with the conversion of softwares from one payroll software to another. And once that conversion was done, they had me processing payroll. But what I found out was I was right back where square one. I was sitting behind a desk on the phone all day, clocking in and out, and taking orders from other folks on what they needed done. So I was like, I don't like this part. I want to go back to the conversion. So they said, well, you know a lot about the software. How about this? How about we send you out and we'll have you train our customers on how to use the software? And I was like, oh, that's good. At least I can get outside. So I did that, and then I went to doing demos, like basically for prospective customers. And then I went and sold for outside sales, 100%. And that was like 1 year. Within a year, I was loving what I was doing. And I haven't looked back. So now let's see, that was back in 2002. So I'm really showing my age. Been doing it for 20 years. I
That's
really, I can't say that as a little girl, wanted to be, outsourcing payroll as an adult, but I get to meet so many entrepreneurs and so many business owners and work with local folks and folks across country as well, because Heartland's national. So we process payroll in every state. So I have payroll companies in probably about 15 states.
that's
So it's kind
awesome.
of cool.
See, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story. Maria, well, I know you've worked at different places. How did Time to Flourish? 'Cause I know when you started it with Sandy Rapp, I'd met you. But so how did
Yeah.
Time to Flourish come about? What's your pathway to what you do now?
Okay, so I have a long history in education and training. So I started out my career way back when at Exxon. I was their corporate trainer. I went on to Chase Private Banking. I was their corporate IT trainer. And then I started working for the Chubb Institute. And I really loved that adult education. So for the next 20 years of my life, I focused on that industry. I was an instructor and program chair, director of education, and eventually went into the operations end of the business and became executive director of a single campus and ran that school for 9 years. And really saw the transition, because when I first took over that role, it was a company that was in a lot of turmoil. There was a change of ownership. There was a change of industry. What happened during 9/11 really changed the whole world of IT. And, so it was a period of time that, really caused a lot of unrest amongst the employees. And so taking on that role of executive director, not only did I have to run the business, but I had to understand how to really rebuild my team and, increase morale and increase focus and take this group of people that were discouraged and demoralized and, turn them into a productive team. And I loved it. I learned a lot, and I really loved that challenge, and turned not only my school, but then became an area vice president and really saw a transition in our organization and saw things like collaboration and employee retention grow. Really saw the culture change to one that was, student-centric, employee-centric. And I credit my one CEO. At one point, we all had to read "The Customer Comes Second." And it was an interesting perspective that, by taking care of your employees, they best took care of your customer. And so kind of I led with that for many, many years and really experienced growth and success by taking care of my employees. And Sandy and I actually met during that period of time. Then we went through some other transitions. Sandy left and became CEO of another organization. I actually followed her and became her vice president of operations. And together we worked in that organization for many years. At one point, the two of us decided that, it was time to maybe take all that we had learned and challenge ourselves with something new. And so we formed a Time to Flourish. Time to Flourish initially really wanted to focus, or we as the founders really wanted to focus on workplace culture. And we soon became aware that a lot of organizational leaders, whether it was small business owners or mid-sized business owners, always had a vision that by fixing culture, what that really meant was that they were going to fix their employees. And so we know that's not true. They had to start, here. They had to start with themselves. And so, it was a little discouraging at first because it was almost like, everyone that we interacted with, they had a very different vision of how to fix their organizational culture. And it always began with everybody else. And so it's been an interesting, that was in 2018. So it's been an interesting, how many years now? 6 years. Sandy and I have gone separate ways. We're still wonderful friends. But at that point, her needs were different than my needs. And so I've retained Time to Flourish and really focused on, professional development and helping organizations to develop their teams. So, their performance was enhanced based on the, skill development that each of their roles needed. And so now here I am.
See, that's great. You guys, you all have great stories, and that makes my job so easy. But I think we've learned one thing, that bosses are assholes, and that's the one thing we're going to say. A lot of them, not all of them, but what you reckon. But it is true. I mean, my wife worked for a guy I was friends with who was just a total dick, and I was sitting there going, "Oh my God!" Like it gets to their head, and it said, "Just be a good person." But besides bosses being assholes, it's something you wouldn't like. But we'll ask you, Kate. What do you like about your job? Because, I go on LinkedIn and everyone's always like, I love my job. And they never say, oh my God, today sucked. No one ever says it sucks, because we all go through ups and downs. But I'm going to ask you, Kate, and I'm going to ask all of you, what do you love or like? You might not love, but what do you like about your job, Kate?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't good at it. That's number one. And I'm not saying that to be pat myself on the back, but there's a little bit of knowledge that you need to have to help transition a customer over from one service to another. And I think because my foundation is good. I started basically with the software, and I have a good understanding of processing payroll and the needs there. So that really helped me to sell payroll, which I really don't have to sell because it's a needed service. So what I really love about doing it is, first of all, the people, my customers. I get to service them on an ongoing basis. That's a different business model than the other payroll companies. So you bring on the new business, sign them up, you move on, you get your new customer next. Heartland's a different business model. We're compensated to continue to service the customer. So if I bring on a new customer, I don't say bye, never see you again, smell you later. I get to talk to them. And most of my business is coming from a referral by my customers. So that's obviously, it's been a good thing. And I get to work with entrepreneurs. So I grew up in a family-owned business. I know how hard it is. It was a restaurant, and we all had to participate in helping that business. So basically, we wore every hat, even the kids. Small business owners are wearing a lot of hats. So they're the boss too. So I get to work with the boss, and those bosses aren't assholes.
Well, of course, you're not going to say it today.
Coaches.
Well, I got to tell you.
Yeah, their dads, they're football coaches. They're just trying to do the best they can, and they really want somebody to work with that kind of cares. So they have me.
That's awesome. And, this is the first time, this is episode 101, and it's the first time someone said, smell you later. And I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that term forever. It was always like in high school and junior high, smell you later. But Maria, what do you love about what you do, Maria? What do you love about your job?
So I have a degree in programming, right? So I came out of college, not sure what I wanted to do, and got my first job at Exxon, and was in their IT department, supposedly developing code, and I hated it. I really enjoy people. And so what I enjoy most about my job is that's all it's about. It's about people. I interact with people all day long. It's every minute I spend with my clients, it's conversation, it's education, it's guidance, it's, you know, I love that interaction. And so I'm a firm believer in education, regardless of what that might be. You know, I hope that there's something I learn every day, and I know that's kind of, you know, cliche, but I think it's true. You know, I think that the world is an interesting place, and we should all look to expand our knowledge base, expand our horizons, and being able to do that with these employees, with my clients, you know, it just brings me a lot of satisfaction and gratification.
All right. And it's funny, you do learn something new every day because like the other day, my mom always said that, and I was at ShopRite in Marlton, and I was walking out, and a guy had a shirt that said beach bound. And I was like, oh, where are you going? Like Avalon, Stone Harbor? And he goes, no, I'm just going home. And I said, oh, then you're a fucking liar. And I learned that day that a bag of frozen peas will take the swelling down on a black eye. So I learned that. So,
You know what I
Amelia,
just
what do you
learned
love about your...
now? Wait, I just want to say I learned smell you later. I've never heard that.
You know,
You've
oh, well, see,
never
there you
heard
go.
that?
All
No,
right, there you
never
go.
heard
See
that.
that? It
So
takes,
there, I'm done for the
it
day.
takes
It's
three
good.
great guests. That's all. I always say, get great guests make my job easy. I'm just a hack, and I can just throw shit out there. But when I have great guests, I don't have to work. And now we have someone learn that, and now we're going to find out what Amelia loves about her job.
I love, well, like Maria said, first of all, I think education is everything. And I love teaching. So I teach meditation, I teach technology, I teach gender inclusion, but the thing I love the most about my job is I get to help people be more kind through education. And I always talk to people about the difference between being kind and being educated, because a lot of times we think we're being nice and we don't realize how what we're saying is heard by other people. So I love that I can help make the world a more kind place for people who maybe aren't seen or heard like they want to be or should be. And that I can give people who don't understand things a place to feel safe asking questions that they are afraid to talk about anywhere else.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. And just so you know, Kate, now I'm going to say smell you later to my wife later. She's going to go, what are you talking about? And I'll go, never mind. I'll probably say it like 6 times because once something gets in my mind,
Maybe
I
we
keep
can
going.
make a shirt out of it.
I'm like a dog. Exactly.
We should definitely. I have another business actually that I make. I sell LGBTQ and gender related cards and gifts, and I actually could make a shirt for that.
There you go. So, okay, we're going to stay with you,
Okay.
Amelia. You told us what you liked about her job, and I mentioned earlier, people never say what they don't like about their job. What don't you like about your job? Because every job is not all roses all the time. You have crappy days, just things. But what is something you don't like about your job, Amelia?
Sure, that's easy. I get a lot of hate. I get a lot of hate from people. I get a lot of hate sometimes when I write social media posts about things. I get, because I'm willing to answer questions that and talk about topics that make people uncomfortable. A lot of times I have to deal with some attitudes and unkindness from people, and maintain my wits about me while they say whatever it is they think they have the right to say. So that part is sometimes tough.
Okay, and that is funny. People just, I always laugh. People just sit there and they can be so mean on social media, and they don't even think, you know, and so they don't even think, you know. I come from a generation. I just turned 60. I'm not gonna lie. I'm old. I'll be dead in like 2 years. And I sit there. I come from a generation where, like, if you were out and someone called you an idiot, if I called someone an idiot, I would get punched in the face. Like, I mean, that's what I come from. It's like, be accountable. People just now put stuff up there, but it sucks that you hate, you know, you get that hate, but there's something you hate about your job, and that's all right. Now, Maria, what's something you hate about your job? Or dislike?
Dislike, yeah. You know, so I work with a lot of different organizations, and their approach to training is very different. So if I go into an organization that is trying to use a single training class as a Band-Aid for a much larger issue, what I wind up with is a room full of just disgruntled people that don't want to learn, but they want to just complain all day long. And I am a perfect person in their mind to complain to. So, I guess that's what I don't like about it. I want to be there for those people. I would love to help the organization make that better for them, but I guess for me, I don't like to see an organization really not be in tune with their employees, understand where their employees are, what their level of job satisfaction is, and how to make things better and how to improve things for the organization. So sometimes my power in that is so minute that it gets really frustrating. So that's one of the things I dislike about my job.
Okay. How about you, Kate? I mean, you're very happy. You've been with your job for 22 years, which is longer than most people last. So there's a lot of upside, as you said, entrepreneurs. But there's got to be something you don't like. What is one thing you don't like about your job?
I dream payroll. There's nothing I don't like. I love it all. No. So, and I'll correct you. It hasn't been 22 consecutive years. I did take some time off when my second child was born, which I think helped me reset, because doing the same thing for 22 years, I don't know, I might want to, drink every night. But in the world of payroll, something goes wrong every day with somebody's payroll. It could be something that the customer did themselves. They're processing their own payroll and they forgot to pay that bonus for their employee. Well, talk about employees, something that's very personal to them is their payroll, their paycheck. So if it's done wrong, the employer is going to hear it, and then we're going to hear it, and we have to be quick to address it. So many Fridays over the years, I've gotten that last minute phone call. Oh my gosh, I forgot to pay somebody, and they're really upset and they need that check. And might sound like a little thing in the world that we live in right now. Everything is pretty serious in a lot of ways, but that's pretty serious to somebody that wants to pay their rent and they didn't get paid. So I addressed that phone call. Do I necessarily want to? My happy hour has been interrupted. No, I'm kidding. Happy hours are long gone for me. But yeah,
You were out yesterday.
it wasn't yesterday, but it was a mixer. It was a social networking event, which I enjoyed, and I'll do every once in a while in the evening. But my evenings are about my family, and there's been many times when I've had to leave a birthday party to address something on a Saturday because somebody didn't get their FedEx package because there was a hailstorm in Louisiana or something. In New Orleans, the person's waiting for their check and their FedEx package wasn't delivered. There's an easy fix for that. So I kind of walk them through that. If it's a one-off paycheck, I can address it and make them happy, and I have a happy client again. But that comes up every once in a while, not so much now. Because
Well, that's good. So that's something you don't like. You don't like people not getting it, which is good. You care because it's important. If you don't get your check, I mean, in the past I lived check to check, and it sucks. I mean, I think everyone once in their life should have to live like check to check for like 6 months and see how important it is because it's something.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
here's a question.
Serious stuff.
It's a two-parter. We're going to start with you, Maria. Now in your life, not when you were, 20, 25 years ago. Now, what is success to you? And then what is happiness? Because I think where they piggyback each other, they're not the same. Like I always say, happiness is like my wife was watching Frasier the other night and she was just laughing her ass off. And that made me happy. I was in the other room. I was watching the Phillies and I was bitching at the Phillies because it was the Blue Jays game and I was yelling at the TV. But that makes me happy. And that has nothing to do with success. But to you, Maria, we'll start with you. What is success to you now? And what is happiness to you now?
Okay. Success is kind of easy to me at this point, because, I'm older and my children are grown, and So those pressures are lessened. So to me, success is satisfying others. So when I've led a really good class and my, attendees or students are happy with it, that's success. When my clients come back to me over and over again because I've had that impact on their employees, that's success. So I think that that's kind of maybe oversimplified. But that's where it is for me. Like I think that there have been points in my life where my jobs have been, where my ambition and my jobs have been huge. And now I'm kind of on the, side where I can really focus on what is satisfying and gratifying to me. And so that's how I would qualify success. Happiness, like everything else, has to do with the people I love. I have 3 children, they've got their lives. I'm as happy as my least happy child, I guess. And so, when things are going well for them, things are going well for me. The fact that I have this great relationship with them, the fact that they feel like they could come to me and I would, be there for them no matter what, that brings me great happiness. So I'd say my family is the source of my greatest happiness.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how about you, Kate? What's success now and what's happiness? Where you are in life now?
Yeah, so it's very different than it was 20 years ago. So success was making my numbers and getting a big paycheck because I was trying to build a life for me and buy a house. But now for me, success is when I basically for my business, because I do look at Heartland, even though I work for a very large corporate company, each customer that I've brought on is my business. So as long as I'm taking care of those folks and they feel comfortable enough to refer me to their friends and family, I think that's success right there. Because that's the greatest compliment I can get is when a current customer refers me to someone else. And it's a lot of word of mouth, my business, and that's how it's grown. So I think there's some success there. And what really makes me happy now is just my family. I'm going to, piggyback off what Marie said. Maria, you're spot on. I'm all about my family. And I want to take care of those relationships just as much as I want to take care of my customers, but more so, right? Because I live with them and they're my heart and soul. So my weekends are really important, spending time with my family, and that's what makes me happy. And this weekend, I'm going to go see my family in Brigantine, and we're going to celebrate, I think, 6 birthdays all at one time. So I just ordered that cake this morning, and it's going to be a good time.
All right. ShopRite on 70, I mentioned, has great cakes. They have a really good bakery. They got a lemon.
So I'm going to throw it out there.
They got a lemon meringue. They got a
Sweeties,
lemon
yeah.
meringue pie. It's like I take me and my wife take to one friend's house when we watch football. Sometimes it's like $4.99, and it's like the best lemon meringue pie ever. But I check everyone to make sure like the meringue's not like separated because I'm like that. I'm like I got to get a good pie. So
all right, well, they can have the lemon meringue, but I'm taking the key lime. I make the best key lime pie.
Okay, well there you go. Next Cocktails with Cooper, you bring a key lime event, and Amelia will be there, and Maria, you'll show up, and we'll all have key lime pie in honor of this episode. Amelia, success, happiness.
Okay, so first of all, I have to tell you that I have never had key lime pie.
Well, you'll try it. She's going to bring a pie.
I feel lacking now in life. I've missed something.
It's all right. Maria never heard "Smelt You Later," so we're someone who's never had key lime pie or "Smelt You Later." We're gonna find something that Kate hasn't done. It's gonna because all three of you. Okay, I've never juggled. I tried, but I sucked. So there you go. That's something I haven't done. Amelia, success, happiness.
So, like everyone else, I think that's changed a lot. And I too am old. So if you'll be dead in 2 years, I guess I'll be dead in just a few more than that. Success used to be, like for a lot of people, defined by material things. And that's so long gone for me now. And I think that I've tied some of my visions of success to my sense of happiness, because for me now, success is a lot about making a difference, you know, about making a difference in the world, about helping make the world more kind, about people seeing people treat people differently. You know, that's real success for me. I gave a talk once, and it was on pronouns and understanding pronouns and when to put your pronouns in your Zoom profile, for example. And I was explaining it to people. And as I was explaining it to people, it was like there were 80 people on the Zoom. I watched some people actually start to put their pronouns in there. Like they had those aha moments, and that's real success for me. And happiness, I'm going to say that there's definitely a parent piece of this, because Maria, what you said is exactly, it's the thing I think all the time. We are only as happy as our least happy child. And those of us who, you know, I'm a single parent, and raising a kid is the biggest job I've had, that I love the most, and absolutely contributes to my sense of self and my sense of happiness, right? How happy is my kid? How happy is our life? And being able to provide a space for my kid to flourish is like, I'm like your marketing campaign now. But so I will echo everyone else in family, but also it's my sense of, like I said, I'm tying it into, I'm happy because I'm helping. And that makes a big difference for me.
Well, good. That's good. I was happy when I was drinking shots with Joe last night, because it was good tequila, and we didn't have to pay for it, Joe. That's what made me and Joe were happy guys. In fact, his buddy who doesn't do shots, I'm like, I got a goddamn shot. It's on this guy. So we had the Casamigos. Anyway, so we've all gone through our lives, and there's people who have influenced us. My mom was someone who always said, always ask. You know, I had a teacher in high school who encouraged me to write comedy. He said, you know, just write, be yourself, what you're writing. Because I wrote a paper about how to give a wedgie, and I got an A. And he's like, this is so well written. And he goes, this is very funny. He goes, follow that passion. So we have people who are important. I'm going to start with you. We're going to stay with you, Amelia. Who is someone, it could be 30 years ago, it could be 2 years ago, who is someone who's been important in playing a role to who you are now? What is, like my mom, as I said, when I do my other podcast, Cooper Talk, I get huge celebrities. And someone says, how do you get them? I said, I ask. I got Ed Asner when I talked to the guy. He came into the studio in LA and saw me with his one client. I go, who else do you have? And he goes, Ed Asner. I wouldn't think I would get Ed Asner. He's a legend. I said, hey, can I get Ed Asner? And he's like, yeah. A week later, Ed Asner walks in. He's exactly what you, bless his soul, he's exactly what you think he is. His pants are pulled up half to his chest. He's like, oh, he's a real grumpy guy. But I asked, so my mom has played important. Who is someone who's played an important for you, Amelia?
That's going to have to be my daughter. I mean, there were people before she came along, but my daughter has, if the question is, who has changed my life the most, influenced my life the most, directed my life the most, it's my daughter. My daughter has, so the best example I can give you of how my daughter has changed my life is that I was phobic of singing in public. My entire life, I used to mouth happy birthday. I would rather sing than breathe, but would never sing in front of a living soul until my daughter was born. And then I sang to her every day. And she learned that I didn't sing in front of anyone else. And my daughter, I will spare you the story, but my daughter orchestrated the situation that had me sing in public for the very first time, that led me to become the lead singer in a band. And in a million years, I will tell you that I never would have imagined that I would ever sing in front of another human being. And my daughter has taught me to face my fears in ways that I don't think anyone else ever could.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And, Joe plays guitar, so you guys may have to jam at the next cocktail. Joe, bring your
Oh,
act
we
to the next
are.
cocktails of Cooper. You're going to jam. I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, here's Smell You Later, the new hot band. Kate, someone who's played an important role in your life.
Yeah, it would have to be my parents. They started a business, took a big leap of faith there, and it was a family business, and we saw the work and effort that they put into that. So it was a really good example. We took Sundays to spend together. They were closed on Sundays, the one day a week. Um, and we just I have wonderful parents that are still here. I'm very thankful for, and they're involved in my daily life. So I talk to them throughout the week and get to see them still. And so they also, I think, have good, a moral compass, which I respect, and that they taught me that. And also, I guess, the hard work that you have to put in to not shy away from putting in the effort and get yourself uncomfortable sometimes in doing something that you think, like you said, Amelia, you thought you'd never sing in front of anybody, but your daughter kind of pushed you and showed you could do that. Well, my parents did that for me. So
Okay, that's cool. That's good. It's such a family-based team today, and like moral compass. I'm like, my moral compass goes straight to hell. That's where mine points. Like, you
That's
have
what happens
compasses,
with the tequila.
but yeah, mine's straight to hell. Maria, who's someone who's important to you in your life?
So this I find is the most difficult question to answer because I feel like I've been influenced by a lot of people, and if I have to choose one person, um, and it is keeping with the theme, it's going to be my dad. So my dad came over to the United States when he was 16. He was born in Italy, and he never graduated high school, and was the most hardworking, humble individual I've ever met. You know, supported his family, put us all through college, did amazing things for us, but never asked for anything like any true accolades, or, he never really cared about like success for himself or attention for himself. And I think that really taught me, as like I was going through kind of the ranks at, that one organization, that it isn't about, the attention that you get. It's about the attention and the success that you bring to those that you support. And so I have to say, if I had to pick one person, it would be my dad, because he taught me that, working hard for others is the most important thing that you can do.
All right. See, my dad actually wore Kanga hats back when I used to. I've been taking the hats off. I have so many hats. I usually wear hats. My dad used to wear Kanga hats. He had great head of hair though. It pisses me off. I'm like, I'm bald. But it's like my dad was also important because the Kanga hats. Now I wear hats. So I always sit there and go, "What's that hat?" And he goes, "Oh, it's Kanga hat." He's, "Oh, it's from Australia." I'm like, "All right, Dad." And he wore windbreakers. I bought a windbreaker a year ago, but I don't wear it because I look like a pedophile. So I'm not wearing a windbreaker. So that's the thing. Okay, so. Someone told me the other day, I'm kind. And I was like, that was a compliment, because whatever. What's a characteristic about you? We'll start with you, Amelia. What's a characteristic that you're very proud that you have?
A characteristic that I'm proud that I have.
That's something we'll say, like, oh, Amelia, she's just, you know, a hard worker. She's just a good person. But what is something that you noticed? Because a lot of times we don't want to compliment ourselves. We don't say, like, I don't walk and go, hey, I'm a kind guy, you know, because you sound like a dick. You know, yeah. But, you know, but for you, what's something that you can actually say, you know what, I am this, and I'm proud that I am?
I'm honest. I am incredibly honest in a way that is never unkind. And I am very proud of being able to maintain a level of honesty and integrity that is not ever mean in any way.
All right, there you go. It was hard for you to say. That means you are really honest, because it was hard for you to pull, you know. Maria,
Yep.
something about you.
So Amelia just stole mine. I feel like honesty and integrity. I think that you know, that's something that I'm really, I guess, proud of. That, you know, I feel others look at me and know that, you know, I am honest, that I will always be direct with them. And yeah, so I'm sorry, Amelia, I had to copy that
No,
one.
I can actually give you a different one if you want. I'm disarming, and that's also a thing I'm super proud of. So I can skip honest.
But you're both honest, because you said you never had key lime pie and you never heard smelt you later. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's it. You're both honest. Now, Kate, what's something? And if you say honest, Joe's going to throw you out of the room. No,
Yeah.
if honest, that's fine. If that's good, that means you're all honest people.
Well,
But
I can say that I am honest to a fault sometimes. I'm going to take a page out of Amelia's book and try and work on how I say it. My delivery could be better. So there's that. I've been told I'm very nurturing, and I've been told that I have a level of integrity, but that could be because I'm very honest. So, again, to a fault sometimes. So I'm working on that flaw. But, you know, I think that's the biggest thing is in business, in the business world, all you have is your integrity. And if you're going to say you're going to do something, you know, you really need to do it, or else you're just a liar. So I think that's where that comes from. I've always had my business hat on, growing up in a business, in a family-owned company. So maybe that was just a natural thing for me, but I think it is learned too. But some of it might just be part of my nature. So.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, here's a question. I met you all through networking. Okay, and networking is very important. I think that's you create relationships. You know, you meet good people. You do meet some assholes, but in the majority, what I've met is good people, and that's no lie. But there's some assholes, but I've met a lot of good people. What do you like about networking, and what don't you like about networking? Amelia, what do you like about networking, and what don't you like about networking?
I don't like small talk. I suck at it. I don't like it. I struggle every time I'm at a networking meeting and I have to make actual small talk. I'm good at real talk. So that's always a challenge for me. And a lot of times I can't always figure out how to get around that part. So that's what I don't like. The don't like is an easy one for me. What I do like about networking, someone always says this to me, you never know. I think I like that the most. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know what that person is going to bring into your life, whether it's professional or personal. I met my best friend. I've met my boyfriend. I've had the most incredible experiences from networking. So it's definitely the fact that I never know what is going to come into my life through the people that I meet there.
Okay. Here's a quick, funny networking story, because I know you're friends with Spencer Broad. I saw Spencer again at ShopRite. They should sponsor the show, Joe. ShopRite, I mentioned him like 3 times. Yeah. But I told him how I hate skinny asparagus. Okay, it's the thin stuff. I like to roast the thick asparagus, and so whenever he sees me, he goes, "Damn you, Cooper!" Every time I go shopping, I think of skinny asparagus, and that's just a weird networking story. Kate, what do you like and dislike about networking?
What I dislike about it is when I first walk into the room. If I'm being honest, there's a whole conversation that, you know, you have in your head before you walk in. And then when you walk in, you're just like, it's okay. It's all good, you know. But so the first walking into the room is not my favorite, but then I just, you know, assimilate pretty quickly after that. What I really do like, and I'm gonna use that term. I like real talk. I don't like small talk. So I'm with you. It's tedious, the small talk. I like to really have real talk, but you're not gonna have that with every person in the room. And that's fine. So you never know who you're gonna have that real talk with, and it's kind of fun. So that's what I like about it. And then you kind of stay, like to your point, you stay in touch with that person that you had that real talk with, and I like that part about it too. Um, I like that we can have these mixers of networking again in person because you know that kind of went away for about 2 years. So I'm happy about that.
All right. See, how about you, Maria? What do you like? What likes and dislike?
So there's not a whole lot I like about networking. It's it honestly, I just it brings out every shy part of my personality. Um, but I love relationship building. Like I love meeting new people. I love getting to know people, and I love adding them to my life. So yeah, I don't like, and I guess walking into the room, actually, when you just said that, I was like, yeah, that is kind of it. I
Yeah.
don't like being in a position where I feel like I have to network. I like being in a position where I look at it as an opportunity to meet. And I've had to kind of rephrase that in my head so I can do it. It's the hardest part of owning your own business, I think. You know, having to go out there and network, although it's always been a part of my professional life in one way or another. But yeah, it doesn't come naturally to me. And I am shy when I don't know people. And so I don't like it.
All right. Well,
Maria,
there you
I
go.
feel that's so hard. That is so on walking in the room too, Kate. It's these are probably the worst parts, the the three worst parts of networking.
Yeah.
I'll tell you though,
And
I'll give you my networking hint, and this is just me. I'm actually somewhat introverted. People don't believe that, but I am. Maybe it's I just don't like a lot of people. I don't know. People just bore me sometimes. But like I connect with all of you because we have real conversations, as we said. But I always go to a networking event. I sit at the bar by myself, and whoever comes up and wants to talk to me, I'll have a great conversation with them. But I don't want to work the room. I'm over that shit. I don't need to deal with it. So anyway, here's a
Yeah.
session,
Smart.
bitch session for me. We can bitch. You can open up. You can bitch about this. I always bitch. I haven't done it lately. I always bitch. I bitch out about LinkedIn. Okay, I go on LinkedIn, and the thing about me with LinkedIn is this: so many people are full of shit, and they're all self-proclaimed experts. Now, recently, I saw someone like pawning like their vacation. Like, I'm going to Italy with my wife. I'll say, hey, you're not going to see me for a while. Me and my wife are celebrating a five-year anniversary. I'm not networking. That's it. But I'm not going to sit there and go, by the way, if you use this, like people, like I saw someone pawning their kids. Like, oh, the kids, this is the message our youth has, and it's all bullshit. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Just show your kids. They're cute kids. They're going to school, whatever. So that's why I don't like how people use like, if you guys know John Cruz sent me a clip of some guy sitting there who built his wedding proposal into dealing with B2B business. Well, if I did that with my wife would say, fuck you, we're not getting married. Take the ring. Because it's so arrogant. And it's like, it's not about business. That's what bothers me. It's like, you can be personal, except, when dudes are like hanging out with no shirt on LinkedIn. I'm like, what are you, crazy? But especially if they're not in shape. If they're in shape, I'm like, all right, I'll look at a guy give me motivation to get my abs cut. But when they just sit there, and I'm not going to say the guy, he used to do it all the time. He doesn't do it anymore. He must have got the message. But that's what irks me. Like the personal shit that they have to tie into business. If you want to do something personal, that's fine. But is there anything that irks you on LinkedIn, Maria, and be honest, because we've all been honest. That's one of your characteristics you love about yourself. Everybody's honest. So is there anything that just bothers you about LinkedIn?
I think the insincerity of LinkedIn, the comments on, there are times where, there's a level of admiration, or, maybe you're really impressed with somebody, but I just feel like, everyone's need to comment and, to say something that is probably just not sincere, not true, not heartfelt, not, just to get your comment in there, just to for whatever purpose. So I think that I understand the need for LinkedIn and social media and, showing your presence. It's probably the part of things that I do the worst at, because I just feel like there's a lot of just insincerity. There's posing. There's, not reality. It's just not always true. So I think if I had to bitch about anything, it would be that.
I'm actually going to post. I bought a fanny pack for when I go to Italy, because my wife said there's a lot of pickpockets out there.
Yes.
So I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna post a picture of me with a fanny pack, giving everybody the finger, and I'll be with the butcher of Panzano. Amelia, what's something you don't like about LinkedIn?
Well, earlier I said that the thing that I don't like about my job is the hate that I sometimes have to deal with, and that LinkedIn is where that happens a lot. And one of the things, I used LinkedIn about 100 years ago. I've been self-employed for almost 30 years, and I used to use LinkedIn and then completely stopped. I entirely stopped, and I only very recently started again. And I'm trying to figure out that whole algorithm thing about getting people to see my posts so that I can talk about my book when it comes out and blah, blah, blah. And I write things, and honestly, it's only been the last few weeks that I've been really using it. I notice that people that are, on LinkedIn, when you're 1 degree from someone, 2 degrees from someone, people who are more than 3 degrees away from me, people who do not know me or anyone who knows me, need to come into a post that I wrote to write something shitty. And then other people who don't know me need to pile on top of that. And that when I can remove my own self from it and not hate it, I am fascinated by it, because, wow, you really must feel some kind of need to write to a total stranger and say something mean. Then I don't entirely get the purpose for that.
It's trolls, and I don't get it either. I had someone post from a Twitter comment I made like 6 years ago. I'm like, how did you even find this? It was a stupid joke.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. But anyway, Kate, how about you? LinkedIn.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really. I would not read any of that nasty talk to you. I would just go right by it. I don't spend much time on LinkedIn. When I do go on it, and I'll see something funny or sweet, I might spend a half a second to read that, but I'm not going to. My time, the older I get, my time is really important, and I'm going to use it wisely. And
All right.
it's not spending time on social media
Right.
or LinkedIn, but I see its value, and I understand like why people do it. I got my Facebook account got hacked, and they disabled it to try and, I guess, mitigate the hacking, but I can't get back into that account. And I was on it I have a lot of family that don't live close to me. Germany, I have family that are Netherlands, I have family that are in California and North Carolina and Alabama. So I kind of wanted to see their updates and so forth. So I missed that part about Facebook, but all trolling and stuff, that's just a lot of hate, and I'm not about that. So I stay away from it. So that's what I don't like about LinkedIn or any social media is the hate part.
Well, that's good. So I just my Facebook, I post stupid jokes, pictures of my wife because my wife is gorgeous, and that's why I give hope to every bald, cross-eyed guy that they can get lucky too. So I'm a man that gives them a message. So you all been great. Here's the last question because we have to wrap up. And you've all had very good careers, and you all have children too. So if someone, it could be your child, it could be someone else's child, it could be another professional that they're starting. They want to know what it takes, what advice. Like if you were in a mentor position, what would, if someone came up to you, if I came up to any of you and I said, hey, how do I make it, man? Like what's the secrets? What advice would you give someone hitting the workforce as a newbie or starting a new career? Amelia, what advice would you give someone?
Starting their own career?
Starting a new career, starting a career, your keys to life, because you're all successful. You all told me, and you're all honest, so I know you're not full of shit. So what's some advice you would give to someone?
Well, the first thing that comes to my head actually is the importance of doing the thing that you're afraid to do. Is a lot of people don't do the thing that could lead to their success because they're scared. And probably the biggest lesson, like the singing thing, one of the biggest lessons I've gotten in my life, and is when you're afraid of the thing, it probably means it's the thing you should do.
Okay. How about you, Kate?
I would say show up and ask. I like that. I'm going to borrow that from you, Cooper. Ask the question, but show up to the job and try new things. Try it. I think that everybody in life, starting out at least, should waitress and work retail. And
that's very important. I agree with you.
Those two things will teach you a lot, and it'll make you a kinder person to others too.
All right. How about you, Maria?
Well, I've never waitressed and I've never worked retail. So
I've done both.
I failed that. I just think it's stick with it. First of all, find something you love. I mean, we all I've loved every job I've ever had. I love what I do. I love what I did, and stick with it. I mean, if you have the gumption, and the bandwidth to consistently stick with whatever it is you started, then you'll achieve some level of success. Okay. If you quit things, then you'll never know.
All right.
So,
well, this has been great. This is the one thing I learned about today also is, Joe, you got to tell me this. I did this a while ago. I can't wear a green shirt with these headphones because I look like Shrek. I'm looking at myself all the time. I see Shrek. It's awful. But anyway, Joe, so if I ever come with a green shirt, I'm taking your shirt. So text me, say, Cooper, don't wear a shirt. So, Amelia, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you, find out more about your business?
LinkedIn. You should go to LinkedIn, Amelia Michael.
Okay. How about you, Kate? How can people find out if they want to get payroll from you?
Yeah, LinkedIn works. I'm on it. I just don't look at the negative and watch all the videos and read tons and tons of text on it, because that would take up all my time. Okay. Also, I've never jumped out of an airplane, just so you guys know something about me that I've never done.
All right. And how about you, Maria? How can people get in touch with you?
My website is timetoflourish.net. My email is maria@timetoflourish.net. And I am on LinkedIn as well.
All right, so people, reach out to them. These all wonderful people if you need their services. You can contact me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. September 26th is another speakeasy stand-up at the Soundplex. I don't know. We're tossing some different ideas about the show. We might have comedy and music. We'll figure it out. Also, don't forget to go to YouTube and look up the Coop Tank. Like the post, subscribe to it. Starting in October, if you're afraid of public speaking or you get anxiety in a networking setting, I'll be teaching a class 4 weeks. The last week, you will be doing stand-up comedy. So it's comedy to get you over public speaking. It sounds weird, but once you once you get on stage, you're one of us, man. You're what we call, you're not a civilian anymore, and it will help you out a lot. And finally, it won't be a show for the next 2 weeks. I'll be in Italy with my wonderful wife, celebrating our 5-year anniversary. And I want to thank Joe Gangemi. Joe Gangemi's the man, best producer in town. This is the best studio. Everyone who comes in here loves the studio. So reach out to them at Joe or hello at SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. I'm Steve Cooper. You have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you in a few weeks. Bye-bye.